She's an innovator in computer science.
I have to prove to the world and prove to myself that despite my challenges, I can still be successful. I started using the typewriter to type letters. Then I gradually graduated onto the computer, and that is how my whole career started.
And she has a passion for helping people.
Somebody who loves technology and using technology to change lives.
This week on African Voices, meet Farida Bedwei. She's transforming people's lives through software engineering. In 1979, Farida Bedwei was born into a middle-class home in Lagos, Nigeria.
I was born with a blocked intestine, and so when I was 2 days old, I had to be operated, otherwise I would have died. And at the same time, my parents had an incompatibility factor in the blood called the rhesus factor, and that is what causes babies to be jaundiced. But because of the blocked intestine, they were not able to apply the phototherapy, which is the treatment for jaundice, early. And that is what caused the brain damage. Because by the time I came out of the incubator when I was 10 days old, the damage had already been done. As a child, I have an older sister, and when I was 9 months old, my mom realized that I wasn't doing the things that children did at that stage. So when I was 1, she took me to London to be assessed. And they did the brain scan and they realized that I had cerebral palsy. So from then on, she started looking for ways of managing it, ways of helping me to live a fulfilled life and achieve what I can achieve despite my disability. Growing up, I lived in the Caribbean. What happened was my dad was working with the UNDP, so we were posted to Dominica, so we stayed there for 3.5 years. While we were there, my mom realized that there was no school for children with special needs who are not mentally challenged.
Cerebral palsy is an incurable neurological disorder that affects body movement and muscle coordination, but doesn't interfere with the ability to learn.
Because the terrain of the other schools are not conducive for us, it makes it difficult for us to go to normal schools. So she homeschooled me till I was 12 years old. By that time, we had come to Ghana. I went into mainstream school for the first time. I was actually supposed to go there so that I could learn how to socialize with other children my age, because I had very few friends of my own. I mean, my sister was the best friend that I had, and my mom said no, I had to learn how to interact with other children. So I went to a government school, and the students, they didn't have any idea what I had. Then after that, I had to go to senior high school. Once again, the disability-unfriendly terrain of the schools did not allow me to go to senior high school, because it would have been very difficult for me to navigate my way between classrooms. So it was decided that since I am good at computers, because I had used computers from a very early age, why don't I go and do a diploma in a computer system, specifically data processing management.
So Bedwei skipped senior high school and at 15 years old went to study at the St. Michael Information Technology Center in Ghana.
I went and I did it. I was put in a classroom with, of course, everybody was older than me. I was the youngest in the class. I was 15 years old when I went and started. It was quite challenging, mainly because I had to step up 3 years. I'm sure most of my classmates were wondering what I was doing with them. And that is how I started my career as a software engineer. Because through that course, I realized which aspect of IT I wanted to specialize in. I loved the idea of solving problems, of creating things.
After receiving her diploma for the one-year course, Bedwei looked for work in Ghana. It was her enthusiasm that secured her a job as a programmer for a top software company called Soft.
I went and saw the head of the technical division called Hermanchini Hesse. I want a job here. I don't have any experience, but I have a willing spirit to learn, and if you give me the chance, I promise you that you never regret it. So he said, okay, fine, come and join.
After 3 years, Bedwei says she had learned all she could about programming at Soft and decided it was time to move on with her career. So she joined Rankar Solutions, where she became a senior software architect.
I got the job then. So I was with them for 9 years, and for the first 3 years of my stay with them, I was actually going to school part-time because I already had a diploma in information systems, but I wanted something else to add to it. I was doing a diploma in e-technology, that is the web industry, because I realized that was the way the industry was going. So after that diploma, I wanted to get a degree because I had 2 diplomas and no degree. And in Ghana, a degree is what counts, no matter what. I actually applied to the universities in Britain because Britain has a great social assistance for people with disabilities. And no matter what, every decision that I made, I had to consider my disability and consider what I could do or what I couldn't do. So I applied to the University of Hertfordshire in the UK, and I showed them my qualifications as well as my work experience. By then I had worked for 6 years in the software industry, and they exempted me for the first 2 years of the university. So I went straight into the final year and came back after 1 year and got my degree at a BSc in computer science.
After she received her degree, she returned to Ghana, where she made a life-changing discovery. Software engineer Farida Bedwei returned to Ghana with a degree in computer science, ready to make her next move. In 2010, she became the head of G-Life Financial Services IT department. It was here where she would make a technological breakthrough.
While I was at G-Life, I realized that the system they were using wasn't very efficient, and it wasn't geared towards the microfinance industry. It was more of a banking application, and the banking applications, they do not fit into this industry. I said, but we can do something about this. So let's start building an application.
Bedwei soon established a software company called Logicel with her friend from G-Life, Derek Denchi.
So we started building it side by side. Then after a while, we realized that this application can go places, and but then within a microfinance company, we can't give it to anybody else. So let's set up a software company and open it up to the other markets, because there's nothing like this currently in the market.
Logicel was set up with the company tagline, "Using technology to transform lives," and Bedwei was appointed Chief Technical Officer.
My greatest achievement, I think, is the microfinance software that I have developed called G-Coding, because it's helping the microfinance industry in this country. It's helping them make valid decisions on what to do. It's helping them cut out fraud, and it's helping them give loans to people who need loans.
It's a cloud software platform that Bedwei says is being used by 130 microfinance companies nationwide. The institutions administer loans to their customers by sending a code to their mobile phones via SMS. That code can be exchanged for money at any branch, making small loans available immediately.
The market woman on the street or the mechanic can get access to a small time loan or something to help them improve their lives.
The microfinance company's field agents can also use a mobile phone to collect deposits. The deposits are monitored online from the head office.
We have had great reviews from our customers about how it has helped them streamline their operations and make them more efficient. Although it does what it's supposed to do, in terms of running the banking operations for the company, it does it in a simplistic way so that you don't have to go to banking school to be able to understand how to use the platform. And we hold a lot of training programs for our clients. I derive satisfaction from seeing my product being used, from seeing it helping people, from seeing it solving problems. And that is my greatest motivation. It's not the money or anything for me. It's the fact that what I have created is actually solving problems within this part of the world.
That motivation, along with her success in business, led her to a national organization to inspire others.
I am a member of the Girls in ICT Committee, which was set up by the Ministry of Communications to encourage more females to go into the IT industry. So what we do is ever so often, we organize a training session for underprivileged girls. We go to their schools to teach them how to use the computer. This year, they actually appointed me onto the board of the National Communication Authority.
In 2013, South Africa's CEO magazine named her the most influential woman in business and government in Africa for the financial sector. Her success would later lead her into a new role. Farida Bedwei has built a successful career as a software engineer. She's also authored a book called Definition of a Miracle.
5 years ago, I started writing this book. It took me 2 years to write. It's loosely based on some of the experiences I had when I came to Ghana. it's not an autobiography, but I fictionalized some of my experience growing up in the developing countries with cerebral palsy and some of the challenges that I went through and all those things. It was written for two reasons. I was tired of people having the wrong perception of people with disabilities. I was tired of people seeing me in the street and wanting to invite me to a prayer healing service. I was tired of people seeing me and feeling sorry for me simply because I could not walk properly. So I decided to write a book so that people who read the book will have an understanding of what it feels to be a disabled person. It's about the family. That is what it is. So I wanted to show the world that yes, there are ordinary families in Ghana, in Africa for that matter, who go through the same things, the same emotions, the same challenges that people in the West go through.
Bedwei says that her passion to succeed was motivated by her mother.
She realized that, okay, she has a disabled child. It's not the end of the world. Let me see what she can do to put the child in a situation where she'll be able to fend for herself. And that has been her driving motivator throughout my life, to make me as independent as possible. I mean, I'm sure she never dreamt that I become this successful, but her main goal throughout my life has been so that when she's not around, I'll be able to fend for myself.
To nurture her own independence, Bedwei has attended regular physiotherapy sessions throughout her life.
We are at the Accra Physio and Sports EG Clinic. I come here twice a week. With cerebral palsy, physiotherapy is an essential part of life, and it is an essential part of your rehabilitation process. And it is important that you come for physiotherapy as often as you can to maintain as well as improve upon your condition. I'm a role model for a lot of children with disabilities, and it's very important for me to showcase to the world that, yes, you can have a disabled child, and it's not the end of the world. I mean, there's so much that child is capable of doing, given the right resources.
Bedwei's personal experience with physiotherapy has taught her the importance of weekly sessions for children with disabilities. So she joined a local organization to make physiotherapy more readily available.
ShareCare is an organization of people with autoimmune and neurological conditions, and I am an executive member of that organization. What we do is we do advocacy for the rights of disabled persons. We also try and provide support to disadvantaged families with children with disabilities. With that at the back of our mind, the members of ShareCare decided to bring a rehabilitation center to the community. There are currently 29 children who come to this center 3 times a week. Most of the people who live here are not very educated. So one challenge that we have is that even if they go to the hospital and they tell them about what the diagnosis is, by the time they get back by the time they come here, they are not able to tell us exactly what is wrong with the child. We provide an avenue for them so that even though they are struggling for their daily bread, the children are not neglected in that regard, with regard to the adequate therapies that they need. So we have a number of physiotherapists who volunteer their time to help these children. And for me, it's very fulfilling because at least these are people who cannot afford to take their children to the hospital for this exercise. And physiotherapy is a major part of the life of a child and even an adult with cerebral palsy. You can never stop doing physiotherapy. The most important thing is to identify the child's strength and to find out which part of the child can be used to do something. And sometimes you do physiotherapy for 2 years and you don't see any results, but you have to keep persistent. Then one day you see a small thing, a small change, and you'll be jumping for joy, and nobody will understand why suddenly the child can move their hand and you're jumping for joy. It should be a normal thing. But then you know what has gone into that child moving their head or moving their hand or sitting up straight. As long as the child is alive, there's something that can be done. That is my belief. And it's not the end of the world to have a child with a disability. I think for me, that is my number one motivator. The fact that parents will look at me and realize that, okay, so I have a disabled child. It's not the end of the world. Given the right attitude, given the right sources, I can make them as successful and be more successful than Farida.